our homework B questions, right? So we have number 4. So all requests. All right, so number 4, I have 2 terms. It could be a dose or a soap. Let me see. Is there a GCF? No, GCF is 1, right? But if I look at my exponents, I have n to the third and p to the third. Well, are those perfect squares? Can I divide it by 2 and get a nice non-fraction number? No. So, you know what? Maybe this one is soap. So let's go and see. What is the cube root of 125? 5. And you can get the cube root by going to math 4, right? What is the cube root of m cubed? Oh, okay, well 343 is 7, but what about this m to the third? Just n. What about the p cubed? Just p. Okay, so it is soap. I'm going to set up my soap way, which is 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3. Yeah? Tom, you writing this down? This is kind of like number 2. This is the soap way, except it doesn't have a GCF. Okay? So 5m and 7p, they go there. As long as you guys found the small parentheses, your binomial, you can use that to find your trinomial. What goes in this first one? Anyone know? Okay, so it's 5m times 5m, right? 25, yes, m squared. Just be careful of that, okay? 25m squared. So in the middle, they multiply each other. Who can tell me what we get then? Good, 35mp. And what goes in the last one? Good, 7p times 7p, so 49p squared. All right, and then same, opposite, always plus. So same, opposite, always plus. Okay? That's how you do number 4. All right? Okay, so the next one. Number 6. So number 6, you know, it's kind of hard to see if you just kind of rush through it. But look, 1, 2, 3, 4. You have 4 terms. And I don't see a GCF for the whole thing, right? So you need to divide it in half and find the GCF of both sides. X to the third on the left-hand side. X plus 2. On the right-hand side, what is my GCF? -1. So then that also gives me x plus 2. Am I doing this correctly? Yeah. Good. X cubed minus 1. So then the x cubed minus 1, what else can we do with that? Soap it. Did you not soap it? Okay.
Soap it?
Yeah, because x to the third and 1 is a perfect cube. So cube root of x cubed is x. Cube root of 1 is 1. Yeah? First one squared times the 2. Last one squared. Same, opposite, always plus. Don't forget to bring down your x plus 2. Okay? I'm going a little bit faster through the homework because we've already done 2 days of factoring, right?
Yeah.
In addition to doing factoring in Unit 2, yeah? And you guys have a mini quiz, so make sure you guys have plenty of time. All right, next one. X cubed minus y cubed. So I see the pattern here. You guys are having trouble with soap? Is that what it is? This is soap because it's x to the third, right? And y to the third. Cube root of x cubed is x. Cube root of y cubed is y. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, x, y, x squared times the 2 and then y squared. Yes? This should be a little bit easier now since we just did 2 cube problems, right? Or cube root problems. Same, opposite, always plus. Yeah? And just FYI, the SOLs love doing these type of problems.
You like soap?
Well, they like soap, but they also like just giving you letters. Like they may give you x squared minus y squared. That's a dose. Yeah? The SOLs, the first time they put this on, all the kids, like they all missed it. Okay? Alright, so let's look at number 1. So number 1, first of all, there's a GCF, guys. What is the GCF? 2. And what else? X cubed, right? Huh? Yes. And it's going to be harder for you to factor it, you know? So x to the 4th minus 16. X to the 4th minus 16. What is this? Dose. And remember, your GCF is just going to weight. This guy is a dose. What is the square root of x to the 4th? Good. Divide that by 2 just to get the square root. X squared. What's the square root of 16? 4. So x squared plus 4. X squared minus 4. Yeah? And then don't forget to bring down your GCF of 2x cubed. Are we okay with that? All right. Yeah, and then you have to dose it. Thank you, Timlin. Oh, like, are we done? Nope. No, we're not. Dose this. You know what it is. I just don't want you guys to not have enough time. I'm like all stressed out about it. I don't know why. You guys are. No, there we go. You guys are usually good. All right. So when we solve polynomial functions, we're gonna do. We're looking for the zeros. Looking for the zeros. We're looking for the solutions, right? And we can solve by factoring or solve by something called synthetic division. And we're going to look at synthetic division next class. So to solve a polynomial by factoring, make sure your polynomial function is equal to 0. Okay? And we only solve if there's an equal sign. If there is no equal sign, don't just make up an equal sign, okay? Because then that means you don't have to solve, all right? So here we'll say only if there is an equal sign, okay? So then after that, we're going to factor using different methods. We can use GCF. We can use our typical factoring, which is our T-chart. That's AM. Okay. We could use our difference of squares, which is also dose, or the grouping. And this is all stuff that we did for the past 2 classes, right? Okay, and then we're going to set each factor equal to 0. And then we're going to solve for the variable. And this is, remember guys, we did this in Unit 2. This is when we do our mini equations. All right? Here's the good news. We've done this. We've done solving by factoring. We did it in Unit 2. Okay? The last part, this is a very important thing to remember. The number of zeros that you have, or the number of solutions that you should have at the end, it should be equal to the degree of your function. And what do I mean by degree? Degree is the highest number or the highest exponent number that you have, okay? biggest exponent number. All right, so the number of solutions that you have should be equal to the biggest exponent number that you have. Okay. All right, let's try some examples. So numbers 1 and 2, I already told you that they're GCF, right? So the first thing we want to do is it equal to 0? Number 1, is it? Yeah. All right, so let's go find the GCF. X cubed minus 3x squared. What's my GCF? X squared. So if I divide everything by x squared, what do I get? You want to help me out? Good. Minus 3. Good. All right. And this is just regular old factoring, okay? We just have an equal 0. Can I factor any of these further? No. So then that means I can go into my mini equations now. So every single part has to be equal to 0. Okay? All right, so let me start with this easy one over here. X minus 3 equals 0. All I have to do is add the 3, then I get x equals 3, right? So how about this guy? X squared equals 0. It is 0, but how do I get rid of the square? Square root, right? But remember, guys, whenever you draw the square root, you have to put what? Plus or minus. So we have x equals, you know, basically plus or minus 0. But do we ever refer to 0 as being positive or negative? No. So really, I wouldn't put plus or minus. I would just say 0. But I would make a note. How many are there? There are 2. Okay? There are 2 zeros here because it came from an x squared. Does that make sense? It came out of an x squared, so that means I have x equals 0, x equals 0. So I'm just going to put times 2. Okay? And we call this a double root. All right? So if I were to clean up all of my solutions here, let's see. I have 0, but 0 times 2, and then I have 3. What is my biggest exponent for number 1? 3. How many zeros do I have? Or how many solutions do I have in my answer set here? 1, 2, and 3. So it matches. I'm good. I found all of my solutions. Does that make sense? Let's try number 2. So number 2, is it equal to 0? No. Let's make it equal to 0. I'm going to subtract 27x squared. So then I have 3x to the 4th minus 27x squared equals 0. Now, guys, what is the GCF here? 3x squared. Because they both have an x, and the smaller exponent is x squared, so that's the one you have to bring out. So if you divide everything by 3x squared, let's see, these 3's cancel out. If I have 4x's on the top and 2 on the bottom, how many are left? x squared minus what? What's 27x squared divided by 3x squared? 9. That equals 0. Yeah? Now, guys, can I factor this further? Yeah. What? What can I do? Good. Dose this one. X plus 3, x minus 3. Don't forget to bring down your 3x squared. All of that equal to 0. Now, I can't factor anymore. Let's do our mini equations. Oh, what's happening? Oh, there we go. All right, okay. 3x squared equals 0. And then I have this guy, x plus 3 equals 0. I have x minus 3 equals 0. And then I can solve. You want to start with the easier ones?
The middle one is 3.
This one? Middle one is x equals
Minus 3.
-3. Remember, you got to solve for the x. This one is 3 because you have to add the 3. Now, let's look at this first one, the one all the way over on the left. How do I solve for this x? What do I need to do first? Divide 3. Good. And then we have x squared equals 0. Oh, x squared equals 0 again? It's just like the first problem. I need the square root in order to get rid of the square. And square root comes with a plus or minus. Yeah? And then x equals 0, but not plus or minus 0, right? We could just say 0 times how many? 2, because it came from a square. Times 2. Okay? So let's clean this up. Let's put it into a solution set. 0 times 2. And then I have a positive 3 and a negative 3. So you could write -3, comma 3, or you could put plus or minus 3. Okay? How many solutions do I have here? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. And does that match my degree? Yes. Okay? So, I mean, this is just a review, right?
So plus or minus times the solution.
Absolutely. Well, you know, and all I did was combine it there, but you could write it as -3, comma, positive 3. Okay? All right, so just to review, more factoring. All right, so let's look at the next part, the grouping. So grouping means that we have 4 terms, right? Number 3 is already equal to 0. Okay, guys, let's group this. Find the GCF on the left-hand side and the GCF on the right-hand side.
X squared.
All right, thank you. How about the right-hand side? What is my GCF there? Huh? Yeah, negative what? 9. Good. -9, thank you. All right, so I have x minus 2, then I have x squared minus 9, all of that equal to 0. Am I done? No. Why? What do I have to do? Else can be factored here. Ethan, you said no. What should I do?
X squared minus 9 is a dose.
Yeah, perfect. Good. X squared minus 9, that's a dose. So we get x plus 3, x minus 3. And don't forget to bring down x minus 2. Okay? Now I can do my mini equations. Everybody gets set equal to 0. So you guys do that, please.
So do all of them go in this one long string of the
On this, making it equal to 0, solve for x. X minus 2 equals 0, solve for x. Yeah. X plus 3 equals 0. So x equals what? So x equals 2, and it also equals, you know, and I keep writing plus or minus 3, but like I said, I'm not going to count it wrong if you just decide to put negative 3 and a positive 3. Okay? I just like to write plus or minus 3 is one less 3 to write, you know? Okay? So how many solutions did we find? Huh? 3. 1, 2, 3. Does that match my biggest exponent? Yes. So we found all the solutions. Alright, so let's look at number 4. So number 4, is it equal to 0? No. So let's make it equal to 0. Alright. Subtract the 2. Yep. I heard you. Was that you, Ethan? 16x cubed plus 32x squared minus x minus 2 equals 0. So we have 4 terms. I don't see a GCF for the whole thing. So what should I do? How do I factor when I have 4 terms?
cut it.
All right, so the GCF of the left-hand side is... Huh?
For x squared.
Oh, bigger. Did you do the GCD 16, comma 32?
No.
Try it.
16 squared.
Do GCD, especially if you get these bigger numbers. Your GCF should be 16, and then you can also bring out the x squared. Now on the right-hand side, what is my GCF? Yeah, -1. Good. So I have x plus 2 times 16x squared minus 1. Am I done factoring here? No, there's another dose. Good. 4x plus 1, 4x minus 1, right? Don't forget to bring down your x plus 2. Alright, and then now, mini equations. Let's solve. You guys do it. Solve for each of those x's, please. So you should have x equals -2, x equals -1/4, and x equals +1/4. Yes? Alright, so I'm going to put -2, and then I'll just put plus or minus 1/4. If you want to list them out, that's fine. How many solutions do we have? 1, 2, and 3, right?
Yeah.
It matches my biggest exponent, so we're good. We found all of our solutions. All right, let's go to the back. Let's try some trinomials. T-chart, right? All right, so what do I need to do first to number 5? Good, make it equal 0. Good job. So let's subtract the 2. So then we have 3x to the 4th plus x squared minus 2 equals 0. Guys, is there a GCF for the whole thing? No. But I have 3 terms, so Abner, what is it when I have 3 terms? Which method? Huh? There's nothing to the 5. But how? What you said it earlier. What factoring method do I use when I have 1, 2, 3 terms? Not those. Those is with 2. AM. Okay. Since there's no GCF and I have this number 3 in front, I have to slide it over, right? Just swing it over and multiply to get my new m. Remember that? So what is 3 times negative 2? Negative 6. That's my new m number. What is my a number? 1. Good. Positive 1. So what 2 numbers multiply to give me negative 6 and add to give me 1? Do you guys remember how to do this? You can put it into your calculator. Go to y equals, put in your m number divided by x. And then when you go to your table, right, you'll see like negative 6 and 1. You'll see negative 3 and 2. Negative 2 and 3. See negative 1 and 6. And so on. 2 and negative 3. Right? So what you're doing is you're getting those numbers from the table, and when you add those 2 numbers, which one gives you your a, or 1? Negative 6 plus 1 gives me negative 5, so I don't want that. Negative 3 plus 2 gives me negative 1, so I don't want that. What's negative 2 plus 3? 1. So this is the one that I want. Okay? So negative 2 and a positive 3. So since we did this swing way, and this is an x to the 4th, you have to do the bring down the first, bring down the last. So bring down the first, 3x to the 4th, bring down the last, and then rewrite the one in the middle using the 2 numbers that you have. And remember, the one in the middle is x squared, okay? So minus 2x squared and plus 3x squared. All right? And if you switch the order so that you get your GCS lined up, that's okay too. All right? Now we just divide it in half, and we do the same thing that we've been doing. X squared is the GCF on my left-hand side. All right, so I see all of you guys working. So work on your own and then look up, and we can see if we have the same factors. All right, so does everyone have this? Yeah? Okay, so now I can't dose or soak this, right? So I have to do my mini equation. So 3x squared minus 2 equals 0, and x squared plus 1 equals 0. All right? Hang in there. I know. Tired. All right. So how do we solve for this x? Add the 2. And then, good, divide by 3. Then we have x squared equals 2/3. Weird, right? That's okay. You know what to do. How do you get rid of that square? Square root it. And when you draw the square root, you have to put plus or minus. Well, then, you know what, guys? This is just plus or minus the square root of 2/3. You can't simplify that fraction anymore. So that's it. Just leave it like that. Okay? Let's do the other one. X squared plus 1. X squared equals -1. How do I get rid of the square? Square root. Huh? You're starving. I know. You know what? You guys are all, I'm losing you. I see it. Hang in there, okay?
Took the cocktail this morning.
Oh, no.
Makes you fall asleep.
Oh,
Thinking
no.
the night pill that makes you fall asleep instead of the daytime. That's
What is the square root of -1? There's a negative inside the square root. What comes out? I comes out. And what's the square root of 1? 1, right? Do me a favor, put it in your calculator. Put in square root of -1. You should get the answer. Oh. No, because your mode hasn't been changed. Go to mode A plus BI. I. Should be I.
It is.
Good. Alright, so if I clean this up, I'm going to put plus or minus square root of 2/3. Plus or minus I. How many solutions do I have there? 4. Plus or minus means I have 2, right? 1 plus, 1 minus. 1 plus, 1 minus. Yeah? At 4, look back at your original. Does it match your degree?
Yes.
Yes. Good. All right. So I want to do something. Let's just skip a little bit. Can we go to this difference of squares, number 9, for a second, please? Okay. Let's look at number 9, difference of squares. Well, the first thing I need to do is I need to make this equal to 0. So I have x to the 4th minus 144 equals 0. Yes? So this is dose because I have 2 terms, there's a subtract, and they're both perfect squares. Guys, what is the square root of 144? What is the square root of x to the 4th? X squared. Remember, you just divide that by 2, right? X squared. Okay, well, there's your dose. X squared plus 12 and x squared minus 12. Yeah? Now, can I do dose again? What is the square root of 12? Put in your calculator. Yeah, it's not a pretty number. So, I'm going to ask you guys again, can I do dose with this? No. Okay? So that means I can just go straight into my mini equations now. X squared plus 12 equals 0, and x squared minus 12 equals 0. All right. All right. So I need to solve this. I'm going to subtract the 12. And then I have x squared equals -12. Yeah? How do I get rid of that square? Square root. Square root, you have to do what? Plus or minus. Tom, are you packing up? Why are you packing up? We're still working. No. Get your pencil out. X equals plus or minus. Guys, there's a negative inside. What comes out?
Negative the I.
I comes out, and then we have square root of 12. I really wanted to do this because, you know what? Can't leave 12 like that. Remember when we simplified our radicals? That's what we have to do. 12 is what times what? You can break down the 6.
2, 3.
Yup. And don't forget to bring down that 2 that you already had. Do you see any pairs?
Yeah, 1 pair.
Yup. So then one of those comes out. What still stays in?
3.
Good. So this turns into x equals plus or minus 2I root 3. Does that make sense? Alright, so let's do the other one. Tom, you better not back up. X squared minus 12 equals 0. Plus 12. So then you have x squared equals 12. Square root with a plus or minus. And then x equals what? Plus or minus. Wait a minute. Square root of 12, isn't that exactly what we did for the other one? Except it didn't have a negative, right? So can't we just write the same thing, except no what? I, right? Because there was no negative there. So it'll just be 2 root 3. Yeah? So then that gives me plus or minus 2I root 3 and plus or minus 2 root 3. How many solutions do I have?
4.
4. Does that match my degree?
Yeah.
All right, good.